The desert keeps secrets older than history itself. For decades, Egyptologists drew a line in the sand. The Sphinx, they declared, was built by Pharaoh Khafre, a monument of the Old Kingdom, barely 4,500 years old. It was a settled case, a closed chapter in the history books. But one man, a sleeping prophet from Kentucky named Edgar Cayce, saw something else entirely. He spoke of a time before the dynasties, a civilization erased by cataclysm, and a date that shattered the accepted timeline, 10,500 BCE. That date, he insisted, was the true moment of the Sphinx's creation. A claim so radical it was dismissed as pure fantasy, the ramblings of a psychic. Yet, today, scientists are now seeing undeniable evidence that the stone itself tells a different story. If you want to see more truths revealed, hit subscribe. The first prediction was the age. Cayce claimed the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx were constructed by survivors of Atlantis, a civilization that predated the pharaohs by millennia. He said they were built not as tombs, but as repositories of knowledge, a cosmic library sealed in stone. Mainstream archaeology scoffed. The tools, the logistics, the sheer audacity of the claim, it defied everything they knew. But then came the geologists. Dr. Robert Schoch, a respected scientist from Boston University, examined the erosion patterns on the Sphinx enclosure. He concluded the deep, vertical fissures were not caused by desert wind and sand, but by prolonged, heavy rainfall. Rain that last fell on the Giza Plateau in significant amounts around 10,000 BCE. The stone was screaming its true age, echoing Cayce's impossible date. This was the first crack in the official narrative, a contradiction that could not be easily dismissed. The pharaohs merely inherited the monument, they did not build it. But the implications were far more unsettling than a simple dating error. If the Sphinx was 12,000 years old, who were its builders? Cayce had the answer: the Atlanteans. His second prediction was a direct challenge to the origin story of human civilization. He described them as a highly advanced society, masters of energy and architecture, who foresaw their own destruction and fled to Egypt, taking their most sacred knowledge with them. This knowledge, he claimed, was encoded in the very dimensions of the Great Pyramid, his third prediction. Cayce stated the pyramid was a prophetic device, a blueprint of human history and spiritual evolution, with every passage and chamber representing a specific era. This was a direct reversal of the tomb theory. For decades, archaeologists searched for a pharaoh's body, a definitive burial chamber. They found none. The so-called king's chamber was empty, sterile, and built with a precision that suggested a purpose far beyond mere entombment. The air shafts, once thought to be ventilation, pointed directly to specific stars, Orion and Thuban. A celestial alignment, a cosmic clock, just as Cayce had predicted. The fourth prediction was perhaps the most visually stunning: the Sphinx was an astronomical marker. Cayce claimed it was built when the sun rose in the constellation Leo on the vernal equinox. This celestial event, known as the Age of Leo, occurred precisely around 10,500 BCE. The Sphinx, a colossal lion carved from the bedrock, was staring directly at its own image in the dawn sky of a lost age. This was a profound contradiction to the idea of a pharaoh's portrait. It was a monument to time itself. But the most famous, and most explosive, of Cayce's prophecies was the fifth, the existence of the Hall of Records. He described a secret chamber, a library of the lost world, hidden beneath the Sphinx's right paw or nearby, containing the complete history of Atlantis, the true origins of humanity, and the records of their spiritual journey. This was the ultimate reversal, the biggest secret sealed in the desert. For decades, the Egyptian authorities denied its existence, dismissing it as a myth. Yet, the scientific evidence began to accumulate. In the 1990s, seismic surveys conducted by a team led by Dr. Thomas DeBecke and John Anthony West detected a rectangular anomaly beneath the Sphinx's paws. A small, hollow space, perfectly shaped, exactly where Cayce said the entrance would be. Magnetic anomalies were also recorded in the area. Scientists, using non-invasive technology, had found something that should not have been there. They called it a subsurface anomaly. Believers called it the Hall of Records. The sixth prediction concerned the contents of this hidden chamber. Cayce said the records would be inscribed on tablets, detailing the use of crystal energy, the development of flight, and the spiritual laws that governed the Atlantean society. He claimed they would reveal a cycle of destruction and rebirth, a warning from the past. The idea of a pre-dynastic, high-tech civilization was a direct challenge to the linear progression of history taught in every university. It suggested that we are not the peak of human achievement, but perhaps a forgotten echo. The final, seventh prediction was about the timing of the discovery. Cayce prophesied that the Hall of Records would be opened when the world was ready, when a new cycle of spiritual understanding began, placing the date around the end of the 20th century or the early 21st century. The fact that the seismic and magnetic surveys, the very scientific tools that confirmed the anomaly, occurred precisely in this window is a chilling coincidence. The science that was supposed to debunk the prophet instead provided the very data that validated his timeline. The biggest contradiction of all is the silence. The data exists. The anomalies are mapped. The geological evidence for the older age is peer-reviewed. But the official excavation has never fully materialized. Why? What are they protecting? The reversal is this: the scientists who set out to prove Cayce wrong ended up proving that the official history is incomplete. They found the anomaly, but the door remains sealed. The question is no longer if the chamber exists, but what is inside. If the records are opened, they will not just rewrite Egyptian history, they will rewrite the history of the entire world. They will confirm the existence of Atlantis, the true purpose of the pyramids, and the spiritual blueprint for humanity's future. The knowledge is there, waiting, a time capsule from a lost age. The final, unsettling reversal is that the greatest secret on earth is not hidden by the desert, but by the fear of what it might reveal. The fear of being wrong. The fear of a history that is not ours. The stone still waits for the key.